So here we are again. Welcome back. Let's talk about handling inquiries. Now, specifically when you're looking at Speedboard right now, it's talking about preparing you for floor time calls. How to handle incoming calls, how to handle any inquiries on a property. Now, not a day or two before, you probably or should have held or are preparing to hold an open house. This will help you there, and in the last video I actually gave you a number of examples in my instruction role play that would be showing you how to do what I'm about to give you. So, here's what we know about any time anybody has an inquiry. And by the way, process is the same in its essentials if it were a digital inquiry. Otherwise, it came online through an email, whatever it may be. All right? So how do I simplify it? What's our goal when we get an inquiry? Think about that for a minute. Before you finish a conversation with somebody who's talking to you about a particular property, called into the office, called on a listing, came to an open house, you got a friend who happened to run into and they said, hey, I saw you got a listing over on. What would be the goal before you're done talking to them about this property? Make money. Guys, it's why you got into business. It's not a bad thing. I can do a lot of things for a lot of people when I have money. But when I don't have money, there's only so much I can do. What I would like before I hang up, before I dismiss, before I walk away, is a job interview. So if this is a serious prospect, I want a job interview. I want an appointment with a set day and time for me to interview for the job of representing them in the purchase of a new home and or the listing to help them sell their property. Now, I may accept just getting face-to-face with them for some reason, but as a minimum, I want their name and some contact information. Essentially, that means I need a phone number or an email address. That's what I'm looking for. And for them to give me any and all of that or to set an appointment with me for a job interview, they need to like me, trust me, respect me before we actually hang up on that call. So, how do we do that? Well, one of the first things is to begin gaining control. So how do you gain control? You gain control by asking questions. Okay? Just begin asking questions. I could say, you know what, I just drove by this property over at. You say, oh great, it's on Easy Street. Did you happen to catch the number? There's a simple question you can ask. It could be, hey, I drove by 5085 Easy Street. Great. Can you describe that property a little bit for me when you drove by? I don't know. It's a white two-story. Oh, yes, the white two-story. Great. Ask a question. We taught you earlier about the response pattern. Repeat, acknowledge, ask another question, or acknowledge, repeat, ask another question. So, particular questions you might ask. What was it about that particular home that caught your eye? How about, well, how long have you been looking for a home? And by the way, you're having to pull this up in the MLS. What do? Say nothing? Ask a few questions while you're pulling the property up. This is an assumptive question. Who are you working with to find a home? Now your mind went right directly to, what agent are you working with? Didn't say that, did I? You'd be surprised at the kind of answers that you'll get when you ask it that way. Let me say it again. Who are you working with to help you find your new home? There's a lot of reasons why we ask it that way. Now, how long have you been looking for a home? And tell me again, how long you've been looking for a home? How many homes have you seen during that time period? How many homes have you seen during that time period? Curiosity, why didn't you buy one of those? Well, what was it missing? What was it that, well, why didn't you buy one? Now, this is a very important question. Do you currently own a home or are you renting? I think there's an obvious reason that you can see why we would ask that. Because what's the follow-up question if they say, oh, well, we own a home? Well, would you be looking to sell that once we find you a new home? Well, yeah, we'd have to do that. Well, that brings up a whole new situation if it's, yes, we would have to do that. That's future training and education that's coming your way. Once you get the information in front of you, trade information. So here's where we've been. Let me just recap. We gain control. We gain control by asking questions. We ask some very specific qualifying questions. We then begin trading information. So I now have the home in front of me. What can I tell you about it? Well, how many bedrooms does it have? This one has, I'm going to tell them the answer and then follow up with a question. This one has 3 bedrooms. How many bedrooms were you looking for? Now that's the correct one. Not, it has 3 bedrooms. Would that work for you? Yes. There's no conversation there, guys. You're not finding anything else. There was no trade of information. This one has 3 bedrooms. How many were you looking for? We were really looking for 4. Oh, could you mind me asking why you would need 4 bedrooms? Well, we need one as an office. Well, if you found a 3-bedroom but it already had an office, would that work for you? Oh, yeah, well, that'd be fine. Guys, I hope that's just as obvious as I could make that scenario. Ask open-ended questions. What am I looking for? There's problems. I'm looking for things that I can fix. Because when I find the problems, I can then offer solutions. I can give them things to fix the problems that they may not even know that they have. So that could be financial information, mortgage assistance. How about local area information? Because if they're moving in from out of the area, they may not have things like that. They may need relocation assistance. Because right now they're in a preliminary point of, well, gee, what if we get relocated? What if? And they were in town and they thought, let me check this out. Let's see, what else? Oh, putting in a search form in the MLS is one of the most simple things that we can do. But of course, it's current information because they go, well, I just search Zillow a lot. Really? Zillow is your primary search tool? I'm just curious, why would you use that? And you can see my face in the tonality. Because they think Zillow is everything. Well, I don't know, do you realize where Zillow is getting their real estate information? It's us, guys. Zillow is not an end-all. If they didn't have us, they'd have nothing. I'm not a big fan of Zillow for that purpose. Maybe there's a different levels of service that you could provide. You'll explain that and hear that later. But how about this? Here's a simple question. I want you to listen to this. Listen, are you familiar with the techniques that I use to help folks like you buy their new home at the lowest possible price? Let me say that again. Are you familiar with the techniques that I use to help buyers like you buy their new home at the lowest possible price? And yes, you can even see what I'm doing with my hand. Isn't that what everybody wants? The home they want at the lowest possible price. And, oh, what's the only answer that they can give you when they don't even know you? No. Awesome. Well, listen, I'd love to apply for the job of helping you find your new home. Why don't we do this? Let's get together. Would Monday be good? Tuesday better? Ask for the appointment. That's the last step. Ask for the job interview. Now, I walked through this with the aspect of thinking that this is a buyer lead. Obviously, if they said, we need to sell, then Mr. and Mrs. Seller, or Mr. and Mrs. Inquiry, I know that you're looking for a home, but you also mentioned to me that you would need to sell your home. Are you familiar with the techniques I used in sell homes? I'm sure you're not. Why don't we do this? Why don't we meet at your home? Let me interview for the job of helping you find your new home, but at the same point, let's take a look at what I do to sell homes, and more importantly, what is the value of your home, and even beyond that, how much would you have after the closing of the sale of your current home to apply to your new one? That way we know that you're making a very informed financial decision. Will that work for you on Monday, or would Tuesday be better? Guys, it's quick, but the rest of the education is going to come as we continue to build upon your career. I hope this helps. Enjoy your day. Let's go talk to more people. See ya.